All is still at the house where it began, but for a few weary Mounties. The Loche High School has an eerie feel about it. Ever since that awful day last week, since the worst high school shooting in Canadian history, Bonnie Fontaine hasn't slept much. The two dead boys are nephews.
They were outgoing kids. They were Dane and Drayden especially. I had worked with Dane. They always had smiles on their face and always happy. And their lives were cut short.
Dane, 17. Drayden, 13. Bonnie's daughter, Braylon, keeps clutching the bracelet her cousin gave her in Dene class. Now so precious.
And he made me this bracelet. And then I sat beside him, we just talked for a little bit. He tells me, keep this bracelet till I'm gone. And I still have it.
What did it make you think?
Like he knew he was gonna be leaving soon.
In this tight-knit community, most turn to faith to try to make sense of it, praying for peace. Everyone is connected to one of the victims or wounded, and almost everyone has their own story to tell of tragedy and sorrow. That's my Lord Jesus, he truly loves me. They crowded the community hall to seek solace in gospel twang, songs of Jesus and heartbreak.
We're always going to struggle, we're always going to go through pain.
And lay bare their own family tragedies.
Everyone.
Tristan Janvier grieving the loss of his young friends.
I grew up with them. We used to play outside. Now look at them. I'm not going to be able to see them anymore. This is going to be my last time. It's really hard for me. It's really hard for my community. Everyone here. There won't be any answers to this.
He had no answers last year either when his 20-year-old brother committed suicide. That wound finally healing, but the shootings brought back the trauma.
People are afraid to stand up. People are afraid to talk about how they're feeling. Like I myself, I'm afraid to talk about what I'm feeling. Sometimes I just wish I could let it out, but I can't. Something's just holding me back. But one day I'll let it all out.
So much bottled up pain.
It's hard.
After so many lost to suicide in Loche. Over 20 suicides in the past decade, seemingly no families untouched. In Bonnie's cozy home, bustling with 5 kids, walls plastered with affirmations, she's trying to provide a childhood she didn't have. She grew up in a broken family, battled cocaine and crack addictions, and survived more than one suicide attempt.
My brother actually revived me after I was dead. He brought me back to life. He told me that story. He told me never to think suicide again. It crosses my mind many times, but
her partner Ricky is who she turns to. He had a tough childhood too, a drinker at age 15, brushes with the law. But then he fell in love with Bonnie, and 14 years ago, he gave up the booze.
Bonnie knew that she was pregnant with my first child. I gotta stop my drinking habit to be the best father that I can. If I keep on drinking, I won't be a good father. That's what I thought.
There is no escaping. Alcohol is a huge problem here. There are 2 bars and a liquor store in close proximity. The Bermuda Triangle is what the locals call it. It translates to a disproportionate amount of alcohol-related death.
We have to make sure.
And Don Herman is sick of it, of how drugs and gangs are robbing Loche of youth.
With all these new drugs that's coming out, crystal meth, cocaine, starting to come around, that's when everything's starting to fall apart in this community.
And that came over from, is it coming from Fort Mac?
It's coming from all over the side, yeah. It's a Fort Mac or South or whatever.
The men gather wood, getting ready to feed the fire so they can melt ground to dig graves. Don thinks reconnecting with Dene culture is the answer.
Back in the 70s and 80s, before technology,
And he's explaining that to me when something awkward happens.
other wood. And then
A man in a passing truck yells at Don in Dene. The man says, "Don't tell what you know."
is that what they're afraid of? Telling the truth in this community? Is this how it's going to be? Our youth are disappearing.
Many here look to governments to fund more mental health services or addictions treatment. But politicians and media come and go, and some say it falls to individuals to break the cycle.
Former chief gave me this plaque.
That's how it was for Ricky. He's pretty proud of this award for being sober 5 years.
Sure, there's a lot of resources that you can go to, like the hospital, the mental health thing, but in reality, to get to community get-togethers, things like that, there's hardly any activities for kids, I should say.
Because there's so little for kids to do in La Loche, Ricky and Bonnie, like parents everywhere, fight to keep their kids from being lost to technology. They also struggle to make ends meet, counting on Ricky's seasonal work as a firefighter in a place where jobs are hard to come by. Still, they have hope.
If I'm down and out,
Ricky's goal, to be the best parent he can be, for his kids to succeed in school.
right now, I think I'm doing a very good job of it. We both are. Just recently, three of my kids were student of the month, so actually we're doing something good. Doing our best. And
After 2 years spent as a teacher assistant in the La Loche school, Bonnie has dreams of her own, attending a Dene teacher education program.
I like being around children and just, I don't know, how you interact, and they just show you different little things about them every day.
You want to be a teacher?
I wanted to, but what happened kind of got me scared now. But I'm still gonna go about it and do what I have to do. I'm not gonna put my dreams on hold because of what happened.
nice view.
They are good dreams, woven with education, which makes what happened at this school even more tragic. That a community so desperate for healing is once again focused on burying those who died too soon. Duncan McHugh, CBC News, La Loche, Saskatchewan.